Good morning and welcome to another edition of A Successful Transition from Monogamy to Open. And today we're going to finish our series on the top 10 mistakes to avoid in open relationships. We've done numbers 1 through 8, and today we're going to finish up with the last two, numbers 9 and 10. So before we get to 9 and 10, let's just review from the top just what they are, and then we'll kind of go into numbers 9 and 10 in a little bit more depth. So number 1 is that in all the excitement of new partners, make sure that you're not neglecting your primary or your original relationship. Number 2 is to make sure that everyone agrees on how to handle things like texts and emails, and what level of transparency do you really need for everyone to feel comfortable. Number 3 is making sure you're not pushing your partner to take one for the team. Number 4 is talk about what each of you is comfortable doing with others before you're actually in the situation. Number 5 is trying to get your partner to replicate something that you really liked that your play partner did. Number 6 is always go at the slowest person's pace, not attempting to push the person beyond what their comfort level is at that time. Number 7 is when meeting other people who seem interested in playing, don't assume that they engage in the same way that you do. Be sure to ask what levels of engagement they are really comfortable. And number 8 is remember that often open relationships do not follow the standard narratives of traditional relationships. It's not always about taking it to the next level. So today we're going to start with number 9. So that is keeping your agreements with your various partners. Hold agreements is important and not to be changed because something that seems more fun came along. Now, I know for a lot of us that seems kind of like a duh. Like, well, of course, if you make agreements with partners or friends or whoever, you keep your agreements. Well, oftentimes even people who get that and that has been their way of operating in most areas of their life, and the excitement of open relationships and the excitement of being able to do all these new things, sometimes people forget. They forget that, oh, I still have to keep my agreements that I've made, whether they're with my partner, whether they're with my friends, because there's all these new and exciting things coming up that they now get to engage in. And sometimes people act like a kid in a candy store and they can't focus. So it is very important to make sure that you are keeping your agreements, that if something new comes along, you have to tell them you're going to have to do it another time, because it's very important to keep your agreements. Otherwise, you're going to have some huge problems in your friendships, your primary relationship, all of that. And number 10 is communication about your relationship is best done in person and not by text or even phone. There is just way too much vital information that can be lost when it's not done face-to-face, especially when it comes to sensitive issues. Sensitive issues should never be talked about over text. And I know people do it all the time. Text messaging is a really lousy form of communication when you want to talk about emotionally sensitive issues. There's too much distance. There's too much room for misinterpretation of what someone is saying. You miss out on facial expression, body language, tone of voice, all of that. All of that is lost in text messaging. So never have sensitive discussions over text message. Phone is not ideal because, again, you're missing facial expressions, body language. You can still hear tone of voice, but again, you're missing pieces. You're missing some vital pieces of communication there. So be adults, buck up, do the sensitive stuff in person, face-to-face. I know it's hard. I know people don't like to do it, but you're gonna benefit from it in the long run. And your relationship is going to benefit from it in the long run. So that's our top 10. I will see you all next week we'll go dive into some new topics. Again, if you haven't already signed up for the private Facebook group, A Successful Transition from Monogamy to Open, please go ahead and do that. Let your friends know about it. And I will see you next week. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye.